Do Black Lives Matter in Israel? If you ask some of the Ethiopian Jews who are citizens of the state, it doesn't feel that way. They've taken to the streets over the past several weeks to protest police brutality and racism in Israeli society. And this shouldn't be confused with the recent protests of African migrants who aren't Jewish and are seeking asylum. But back to the Ethiopians. These waves of protests were ignited in April after a video went viral of police violently beating an Israeli soldier of Ethiopian descent. And as Israel-based journalist and filmmaker David Sheen told me, that struck a chord with many.
Pretty much every single Ethiopian Jewish man in this country can speak to that experience. Either he's experienced it personally, or his brother, or his uncle, or his friends have been the victims of police brutality.
So what should you know about the Ethiopian Jewish community in Israel? Today, at least 135,000 Ethiopian Jews live in the country, which is approximately 2% of the population. Many of them arrived after Israel airlifted them out during the years of the famine in the 1980s and 90s. Before that, thousands of Ethiopians tried to reach Israel by land, many dying on the journey. But today, despite the fact that these Black Jews of Israel are citizens of the state, which entitles them to equal protection under Israeli law, and despite the fact that they serve in the Israeli army and speak fluent Hebrew, they have long been the victims of systemic discrimination. Just how bad is it?
Obviously, being the darkest hued Jews in the country, they face color-based discrimination that's not unlike in the United States and other parts of the world. The Ethiopian community has not been allowed to access to housing all over the country. They were sent to certain communities and other communities refused them. They were sent to certain schools and other schools refused them.
They've also suffered endemic poverty. At least 65% of Ethiopian children live below the poverty line. Just 5% of the community have college degrees, compared with 28% of the broader Jewish population. And on top of that, 1/5 of the inmates in juvenile facilities are Ethiopian Israelis. As organizer Moria Zalka told me, the younger generation of Ethiopian Israelis are fighting to change all of that.
We were born here, we were raised here, we got the education here. So we know our rights, we know what we want. Until we won't see a result, but true result and a long-term results, we won't stop.
So given the community's demands for social justice today, what is the government doing? Well, Prime Minister Netanyahu met with the Ethiopian Israeli soldier who was beaten by police and told him, Netanyahu repeated that sentiment at an annual memorial for the 4,000 Ethiopian Jews who died on their way to Israel years ago, saying there is no place for racism and discrimination in our society. He's also set up a ministerial committee to eradicate racism. But is that enough? Many Black Jews believe that change will only come with a change of consciousness among Israelis as a whole. And given how small the Ethiopian community is and the fact that it doesn't have a lot of political power, how optimistic should folks be that the government will once and for all address these long-standing concerns?